Hello, dear friends. This is not a conspiracy theory, but an officially recognized fact. This summary comes from the Spanish Meteorological Agency and Wikipedia, among other sources. Opinion piece. Weather modification. It is carried out in more than 50 countries. Spain uses anti-hail generators. Controversial coronation of King Charles III. He's a supporter of the Great Reset at Davos. Anti-monarchists chanted, in quotes, "He's not my king." Let's start. More than 50 countries are carrying out activities on artificial weather modification, the status of which is recorded in regular reports by the Committee of Experts of the World Meteorological Organization, a specialized agency of the United Nations dedicated to international cooperation on meteorological, climatic, hydrological, and environmental issues. These activities are aimed at increasing precipitation by 10 to 20%, reducing the size of hail and hail damage, locally dispersing fog and condensation trails, according to the Spanish Meteorological Agency. This is done for specific purposes, such as cloud seeding to cause rain in arid regions or to avoid hail in crop-producing areas. Polemic. The State Meteorological Agency has released a video asking for respect and consideration for its workers after receiving a wave of insults on social networks. The source of the insults lies in a piece published on 10th April on the agency's blog on artificial weather modification. The piece was interpreted by some readers as a proof that the spraying from the sky exists, is real, and is being used to change the weather. In quotes, "They are trying to instill fear in us so that we will do what they say under the guise of climate change, when they themselves are causing the change," said one reader in the comments. Journalist Enrique de Diego, director of Rambla Libre, has filed a complaint with the Seprona before the Civil Guard headquarters in Elche, Alicante, Spain. He denounces that the draft is being caused by the spraying of chemtrails by airplanes that release aluminium, the cheapest and most widespread hygroscopic desiccant, into the atmosphere. Anti-hail. In Spain, especially in the community of Madrid, since the 70s, and in Zaragoza, anti-hail generators are used. The aim of these generators is to reduce the size of hail and therefore minimize the damage when it reaches the ground and its negative effects on crops, according to the Agricultural Chamber of the Community of Madrid. The technique consists of taking advantage of the vertical currents between the sky and the immediate areas of the atmosphere, and by setting the generators in motion, seeding the clouds with a compound of silver iodide and acetone, which makes the diameter of the ice granules smaller when they leave the cloud or melt earlier when they fall, thus reducing the kinetic energy of the hail or hailstone. Definition. Geoengineering is the deliberate large-scale modification of the Earth's climate. Various strategies have been proposed to realize the purpose of geoengineering, such as the management of solar radiation by increasing the physical reflection capacity, either through modification to clouds using techniques such as cloud seeding. Another technique is stratospheric aerosols, by introducing sulfuric compounds such as sulfuric anhydride and sulfuric acid to reduce solar radiation reaching the Earth's surface. Other compounds considered are aluminium, secioxide or alumina, and barium titanate. Arguments against geoengineering are a possible increase in ocean acidification as a consequence of acid rain, aggravated by the dissipation of sulfur in the stratosphere. In addition, sulfur aerosols and the cooling of the stratosphere contribute to the destruction of the ozone layer. In addition, the reduction of sunlight could reduce plant photosynthesis, which absorbs carbon dioxide and generates oxygen. On the other hand, the reduction of the hydrological cycle could lead to droughts because increased sulfur aerosol content and reduced sunlight reduce rainfall. Clouds. Since the discovery in the late 40s that silver iodide crystals can form ice crystals in water vapor, scientists have been working to understand how to alter the way water forms and moves within a cloud, hot or cold, polluted or clean, over a mountain or over a field. The characteristics of a cloud are essential to the success or failure of cloud seeding efforts. The challenge of artificial weather modification is to identify and locate the best clouds to work on. With clouds, these technologies would be ineffective. Without clouds, I mean. The basic concept of stimulating precipitation is to find a process that limits the rate of conversion of cloud water to precipitation in natural clouds, with a minimal level of artificial stimulation. Finding the right clouds depends on temperature. In warm clouds, scientists can use hygroscopic seeding, usually with simple salt. The salt helps the water droplets to collide and produce rain. Clouds in the tropics differ from clouds in mid-latitudes because temperature influences the functioning of clouds processes. Anything that disturbs clouds can affect cloud seeding. Some of the most successful cases of cloud seeding in the world have occurred in mountainous regions. They are an attractive target for cloud seeding because the high altitude snowpack can store a region's water for the entire year. Cloud seeding on a global scale has a historical precedent in the form of volcanic eruptions that inject particles into the stratosphere that reduce global temperatures for 2 to 3 years after the eruptions. Coronation of Charles III. More than 2,200 people attended the solemn ceremony which took place in Westminster Abbey. The ceremony took place on a full moon and on the 6th day of Saturn, which suggests that the day was chosen astrologically. The ceremony took place as protests by anti-monarchist groups in central London chanted, in quotes, "Not my king." British police made arrests of protesters. InfoWars founder Alex Jones spoke about the announcement of the Great Reset of King Charles III at the COP26 conference in 2021. It is no secret that the monarch supports climate plans, which puts him in the same category as the Davos Forum. In fact, he outlined 10 actions the world can take in his speech at the Green Horizon Summit in Switzerland in November 2020. According to investigative journalist Leo Hohmann, Charles III would be concerned about the delay of the Great Reset of Davos and the 2030 agenda. Therefore, they have called a summit in September to discuss how to get their plans back on track. The so-called 2023 Sustainable Development Goals Summit will take place on 18-19 September in New York. Hohmann is of the opinion that the globalists only care about dominance and control of humankind, and that they are willing to do anything to achieve these goals. In his view, they want all those who resist the Great Reset to be forced into Chinese-style re-education camps. News. Breaking news. Nearly half of the 4,800 banks in the US are potentially insolvent because their capital buffers have run out, according to a group of banking experts reported by The Telegraph. The car in which the famous Russian writer Zakhar Prilepin was traveling is blown up. The writer survived the attack but was injured, and the driver of the car, Alexander Shubin, was killed in the explosion. The Indian Army orders firing on protesters amid fierce ethnic unrest in the northeastern state of Manipur. Xi Jinping urges to modernize China's industry using artificial intelligence. China successfully connects a computer to a monkey's brain. Spain, a key player in experiments with endangered primates. Spain is the third largest importer of a market that has introduced up to 238,000 monkeys into the European Union for vivisection purposes in the last 20 years. The total business amounts to $869 million. Catalonia is home to Europe's largest distribution and quarantine center for macaques, whose main mistreatment is denounced by animal rights organizations. Vietnamese and Russian scientists will search the sea for substances active against tumors. Curious. A Russian thinker inspired Elon Musk. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky believed that the destiny of humankind, driven by technology, would be to expand across the universe. Elon Musk, obsessed with colonizing Mars, has led a veritable revolution in space transportation with his retrievable rockets. Leo Tolstoy abandoned his family with the intention of bequeathing all his possessions to the poor and embracing an ascetic existence. Nikolai Fyodorovich Fyodorov believed that the development of technology is essential for the expansion of humankind in the universe to fulfill its cosmic destiny. He believed that humankind had a duty to contribute, promoting the general welfare with strict ethical principles. Space and time travel. The TARDIS theory of space travel is a concept related to a propulsion system called space travel engine, which allows travel through space and time through the use of a technology called a dimensional force field. This technology creates a bubble around a spacecraft that protects it from external forces as it moves through time and space. TARDIS is an acronym for time and relative dimension in space. A millionaire's tricks to rejuvenate. Brian Johnson, 45, spends $2 million a year to turn his body into that of 18-year-old. The millionaire wakes up at 5 a.m., takes around 100 supplements a day, and follows a strict vegan diet to eat exactly 1,975 calories a day. After his first shake, Johnson begins his 1-hour workout, which consists of 25 exercises a day. He also does 10 minutes of high-intensity interval training 3 times a week. Johnson works with a team of more than 30 doctors who analyze almost all his organs and use him as a guinea pig with the latest technologies in life extension science. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.